guys? The Bunch Buddies are back today with the NFL Power Rankings heading into week 4. We had some surprise wins last week, some surprise losses as well.
Yep.
And we're just going to dive right into it as Ethan's going to take us to our first but last place team.
The last place, you guys already know, it's the New York Jets. 0-3. They really didn't stay out of the 32 spot for long this year. They lost big to the Broncos. The Broncos are a playoff team. They look good, but the Jets just can't move the ball on offense, and they can't really get a stop on defense. So this is what's going to look like the rest of the year.
31st, you got the Jaguars moving up just because the Jets are that bad. They did look really good against the Cardinals, who are pretty high in our power rankings. But in the second half, they just had a total collapse and eventually lost the game. But what really was the turning point this week was them returning a kick for 109 yards, and it looked really good going in the half. But unfortunately, Lawrence just made too many rookie mistakes, and they couldn't come away with a win this week. But they have a tough task on Thursday night against the Bengals, who look pretty good this year as well. So I'm expecting this team to head to 0-4.
We got the Giants coming in at number 30. I know you picked the Giants this week against the Falcons, but 17-14, another close loss. So don't take too much into account that NFC East is still up for grabs, unless the Cowboys. The Cowboys look the best so far.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and what you were saying about the close losses this week, they lost last week on a game-winning field goal, and then the week before they went in overtime. So this Giants team could easily be 3-0 and a big surprise in the NFL, but unfortunately they've just been on the wrong side at the wrong time. And that's why they're 0-3 this year. And 29th, for all my Lions fans out there, I know you're already complaining. Lamar, the play clock, it was at 0. Okay, well, don't let them get a 4th and 20 the play before. You could have done a lot more this week to beat the Ravens. You could have scored a touchdown the drive before, but that stalled. So you had to kick a field goal. But Tucker still had to kick that 66-yarder for the win. He did. He hit it. Just another unfortunate loss for the Lions. As I think they're going to finally get their first win this year against the Bears, who are also struggling this year. But that's going to be pretty much I don't even know what kind of game that'll be. Could be a high scoring, could be a super low scoring. That's something to look into.
Pretty low on the rankings so far this year is the Indianapolis Colts. They just really haven't looked good in a game. They haven't dominated like they did last year. The offense without Phillip Rivers is looking a little bit slower. But, Wentz can do his thing once he gets going. So, Colts not looking good for the division, but especially after that Titans loss, but you never know.
27th, we got the Falcons moving up just because they beat the Giants. Not really much to be said about this team. They just moved up pretty much because they won their first game, and it'll be a battle, to head to 2-2 next week against the football team. And this Atlanta team really would need that, and also Washington. So expect a good game out of that.
Next, we got the Houston Texans. They got quite a bad loss to the Panthers. Panthers are a great team, though. On Thursday Night Football this week, they're going up against the Bills, and hopefully they can contain Josh Allen a little bit to get a chance, but they really don't have much of a chance this week.
25th, you got the Chicago Bears. Pretty terrible loss to the Browns. Fields got banged up already. Not good in your first start. Offense had a net of 1 yard. Just Matt Nagy needs to go. He needs to be fired.
Right.
He is the problem. And for everyone out there being like, oh, it's the offense, just the offense. We don't have weapons. And no, Nagy's the problem. And they just need a fresh start. They have 3 quarterbacks that have all started NFL games on that roster now. And it's not the problem. It's Nagy. And as I said, he needs to go. And this Bears team could look a lot different in 4 weeks if Nagy's gone. But they have a task against the Lions, and that would be a big win there to head up, get back to 2-2, and try to right the ship. Oh, jeez.
The Washington football team's coming in at number 24. Man, that I've never seen that Washington defense give up 43 points. That defense did not look great this week, but you did go up against most likely he could be the MVP of the league in Josh Allen. So it'll be a good week this week to beat up on Matt Ryan and that offensive line.
Miami coming in at 23rd, not moving at all. Just because lost in overtime to Vegas, who's 3-0. But this Miami team looks a lot better with Jacoby Brissett. As much as all the Tua hype and how Tua's, the guy, Brissett really showed that he should be the guy this year. I know it's a kind of an overreaction, just he's only played 1 week, but they showed a lot of promise as Brissett is going to get the start again against the Colts, and that's definitely going to be a game to watch. The Colts need their first win, and Miami needs to keep up if they want to have playoff contention and stay in the division race.
The Eagles just came off of a very upsetting loss on Monday Night Football. It just happened last night. They just couldn't stop the Cowboys, and when you can't stop anybody, then you can't really win games, and that's not going to be good for next week, which they're going to get up against the Chiefs. So they better figure that defense out soon.
21st, you got Minnesota, who I picked to upset Seattle. I kind of saw this one coming just because, Minnesota, for some reason, they always win games that they're not predicted to win. And this was just one that I couldn't see them heading to 0-3. And, even with Cook out, they still managed to run the ball pretty well against Seattle's front. Right. And Cousins has been a surprise for me this year. He's been above average, and just look for that to play because he's finally got some weapons on the outside now. KJ Osborne's been a big surprise as the wide receiver 3, as that's someone else you got to cover now, just because he's a big weapon in that Minnesota offense.
Top 20, we got the New England Patriots. Didn't look great against that Saints. Like how we were talking about that it could be any type of game. Like it could be a blowout, it could be a close, low scoring. Well, it was kind of in the middle of that. We're only scoring 13 points. And how many picks did Mac Jones throw? He threw 3, or
I think he threw 3, but one of them wasn't his fault. It was in his receiver's hands, and he just all of a sudden dropped it.
So tough game against the Saints. They get to play against Tom Brady next week, so that'll be a good one.
A reunion. Brady coming back to Foxborough. Game. Should be a good game on Sunday Night Football. I'll let you talk about your Steelers as well here.
Oh, geez, man. Well, the defense right now, TJ Watt, Devin Bush, a little beat up. So I'm kind of expecting this. I picked the Bengals to win. I mean, the offense couldn't move worth anything. So, we play the Packers next week, so hopefully we can get an upset, but maybe going to have to draft a quarterback here soon.
Not looking too hot in the AFC North, especially with
especially after losing to the Bengals.
Yeah, coming in 18th, moving up a few spots, beating Steelers. Burrow's looked pretty good. Not like spectacular, but he's first 3 games back since that devastating injury last year, and they get Jacksonville on Thursday Night Football and win there. They'll be 3-1, kind of a surprise team through 4 weeks, I would say. But This is a team that has young talent and should be, contending for that AFC North if they get a few more pieces next year for sure. But this is definitely a team to look out for heading into the middle to late of the year.
Now we got the 1-2 Seahawks. Pretty bad start. They won week 1, but then got upset by the Titans and then upset by the Vikings. The big loss, 30-17. Not much to say about this game. It was kind of just like Seahawks couldn't stop the run, so I mean that'll happen. This week they got a big divisional game this week against the Niners, so circle that. That'll be a good one.
16th, you got biggest surprise team is Denver Broncos, but they have had a really easy schedule to this point. Beating the Jets, beating the Giants, and who else did I think they beat Jacksonville too.
They beat Jacksonville.
So they've beat the 3 lowest teams on our rankings, but you still got to win. And let's see, we're going to see what they're made of this week as they play the Ravens at home. So you're going to have to stop Red Hot Lamar right now, and definitely potentially a game of the week that's flying under the radar.
Right. The Carolina Panthers 3-0. They came off of a big win against the Texans. Quite a blowout. That should happen though. So week 4 against the Cowboys. I could see the Panthers winning this game. It is in Dallas, so it'll be a tough one. But Darnold's look good. They can move the ball. Defenses look good. So good start for the Panthers so far.
See, I'm going against you here. I'm going to go with Dallas. This is Dallas's division to lose. They're coming in at 14th, just moving up 1. But that week 1 loss to Tampa really showed that this team with Dak is an elite team. And I think they'll really prove that if they can beat Carolina at home, send Carolina to 3-1, give them their first loss, and Dallas will be 3-1. And if the Eagles and Washington already lose next week, Dallas is already going to have a 2-game lead in this division. And in the NFC East, that's pretty big, knowing that just how it's always played out in the last few years.
Next, we got the New Orleans Saints just beat the Patriots. The Jameis Winston-led offense looked pretty good. I mean, we still don't know what we get from this offense every week because it's only been 3 weeks, but hopefully they look to build on that last win against the Giants and step in the right direction.
Coming in at 12th is the Titans. They're not really moving at all. Pretty dismal performance, I would say, by the Titans. They just did enough to squeak by Indy. Henry just had a normal game, nothing spectacular like he did the week before, but they get a really easy task of going to New York to play the Jets. I'm expecting this team to head to 3-1 and move up next week in our power rankings.
Now we got the Lightning Bolts. Big win against the Chiefs this week. Especially in division, that'll help them out later in the year because they're already a game up, and which makes them 2 games up. So, I mean, just win the other games. This week they got the Raiders. It's a very tough division, so obviously it's not wrapped up yet, but it's a good start for the Chargers.
Coming in at 10th, moving up a few, is the Raiders. This team just somehow finds a way to win, and Carr has really looked like a potential MVP candidate through 3 weeks. I expect kind of another 28-31 around there game against the Chargers on Monday Night Football next week. And, that's kind of a surprise, really good Monday Night Football matchup to start the year. And both these teams are going to be looking to take sole possession of the AFC West. Obviously, if Raiders win, they're going to have pretty much a 2-game, potentially 1-game lead if Denver loses next week. But if Chargers win, there could be a 3-way tie up in that first, and it's not the Chiefs.
Definitely.
But that's definitely a game. Definitely Monday night, you would want to watch that game.
Coming in number 9, we got the San Francisco 49ers. Close loss to the Packers on Sunday Night Football. This week they got the Seahawks. Not thinking too much into the Niners because how they're going to be. Their defense is solid. Their offense can move the ball, but they're limited at quarterback. So, I mean, they keep getting those Trey Lance in. If he can get in, that'd be good.
Coming in 8th are my Packers. Big win against San Francisco on the road. Finally, they went over the hump and beat San Francisco in San Francisco. That's just I think that's a win that's going to be a really good win for the team, just because they couldn't do it the last 2 years. They lost to them the NFC Championship, and then last year, towards the end of the season, they couldn't beat them. And Sunday Night Football gave Rodgers 37 seconds. That's too much time for Rodgers.
Yep.
And he let him down the field, and Crosby kicked a game winner, and that's why they're 2-1 and moving up in our rankings.
Now we got the 1-2 Chiefs at number 7. I know this is looking pretty controversial, but I mean they lost 2 in a row. What do you expect? They got to go down a little bit. But I mean, week 4 against the Eagles, it'd be a good week to get back on track and win a game here. It's not too big of a deal, the 1-2 start, because the Chiefs are the Chiefs.
Coming in at 6th, you got the Buffalo Bills, kind of a little bit of a big mover after pretty much pummeling Washington, as they get another easy task of Houston at home. Josh Allen looks like the MVP candidate that he was supposed to be this year. He finally had his breakout game. And, this Bills team running the ball, which will surprise some people with Zach Moss and Devin Singletary. They look pretty good this year, a good committee back there. And that's something you're going to have to take into account this year. As last year, they was lacking the run game, but this year they definitely got it going through the first 3 weeks.
At 5, we got the Arizona Cardinals. A really good 3-0 start the year. This tough division, man. They got the Rams this next week, but so that'll be a good one. They beat up on the Jags. There's not much to say. It would have been 31-12 if that kick return touchdown didn't happen. So it was close. It ended up being kind of close, but it wasn't really like that. It doesn't tell the story.
Coming in at 4th, we got the Ravens. They won last week, but we got to move them down a little bit. Just got to hold them accountable as they hit that game-winning field goal against the Lions, 66-yarder NFL record. Pretty dismal performance by the whole Ravens as a whole. I mean, limiting Detroit to 17, and that they're going to have to throw offense, which was pretty good. The defense did their part. The offense just really couldn't get anything going. But they're going to travel to Denver to take on 3-0 Broncos. And this is a game that I think Lamar needs to win to keep that AFC North lead and to keep his name relevant this year, because everyone's somehow always, he's the most guy that gets the most hate this year. And if Lamar can go into Denver and win this, that's going to be a big win, not for just him and the haters, but for the Ravens too.
Now we got your Cleveland Browns. Big win against the Bears. I mean, they didn't really have much competition there. It's going to be a good race with the Ravens in this top of the division with that two-back powerhouse over there in Cleveland. This week they got the Vikings. That'll be a good one. That'll be entertaining. A lot of rushing yards in that game as long as Dalvin's back. But it's weird that Kareem Hunt got all the touches this week. And Chubb didn't get much, but
yeah, I benched Hunt this week in fantasy. Wasn't good, but coming in at 2nd, we got Tampa. That game kind of lived up to the hype last week. At least in the first half, defenses battled, and in the second half, Tampa just had a collapse. They couldn't stop Deshaun Jackson, and then once they figured out how to stop Deshaun, then Cooper Kupp just went wild in the second half.
he did.
Questions on that Tampa secondary. I know they've been linked to Richard Sherman, so that could be a potential fit. But, it's Tampa Tom. He's probably going to give them a win in Foxborough because that's just something Tom Brady's used to doing. So expect this team to go to 3-1 and, just bounce back next week.
Now, the team that just beat the Bucs, we got the Los Angeles Rams, 3-0 to start the year. Man, that Stafford trade is looking nice right now for the Rams. He's looked great. Their offense can move the ball. They've looked really good, and now they got the Cardinals, 2 3-0 teams facing off. That'll be a good one. Excited for that. Well, that's all for the power rankings. We'll be doing a fantasy football video this week, and then once the playoffs start for baseball, we'll be doing some recaps of the series. Anything you want to add on to that?
We also will be doing our normal picks like we do. Hopefully this week we'll be having a guest picker. If we have a guest picker, then we'll just put them in the field and have them join our video here. But, NBA is also starting up, so you're going to be meeting one of our new colleagues. As we're not going to tell you who it is yet, but we will be covering NBA here as, October's approaching, and that's when the NBA is starting.
Exciting time.
That'll be it for us today.
All right, guys. So if you enjoyed the video, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time, Bench Buddies are out.
She never called back.